The Invincible versus beta happened over the weekend, and everybody had a lot of thoughts about it, whether it was positive thoughts or negative thoughts. I had a lot of time to actually play this beta over the weekend, so I want to talk about some of the things I loved about it and some of the things I didn't necessarily love about it. Before I get into my thoughts, one thing I want to say prior to this is our opinions don't have to be the same, right? A good thing about gaming and fighting games in general, some things that I love in fighting games might not be some things that other people love in fighting games. Something I hate in fighting games, some people might love. It's always important to formulate your own opinions based upon you actually playing. I think a lot of times what happens in the gaming community is we see people like or love something or dislike something, and that immediately becomes your opinion. Regardless of what I say about this game in this video, you should try it for yourself and see how you feel about it. Now let's get into my thoughts. I thoroughly enjoyed my time playing this game. And if you know me, I'm not very big on tag fighters. I've never really been a big tag fighter guy. The only tag fighters that I genuinely love is probably Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle. But outside of that, I've never really been a huge fan of the tag genre. So going into this game, I already kind of had my preconceived notions about how I would feel about it being a tag game, but I was pleasantly surprised in how much I had fun. Now that's not to say everything was perfect. There were some things in this game that I really found confusing that I didn't necessarily love. For example, level 3s do an obscene amount of damage in this game. If somebody has like 30 to 35% and you do a level 3, they are likely just gone, right? So level 3 seemed like they did a more damage than they intended, at least in this beta build that we got to play. So I thought that was pretty confusing. And let's talk about kind of the big problem that a lot of people had with this beta, which was the rage quitting. Rage quitting is a concept that's basically in every single fighting game. And it's just this thing where people don't like to lose. And that's kind of the hurdle that a lot of new players have to kind of overcome. Like a lot of people think the hardest part of getting into fighting games is learning combos, right? Learning spacing, learning how to play footsies, right? When people think about learning fighting games, those are the things they immediately go to. But the hardest thing for a new player to be able to accept in a fighting game is being able to accept the loss. Once you get over the barrier of accepting a loss, then you can start going into, okay, what could I have done better to win this game? Could I have used my meter better? Could I have spaced this light out better? Could I have went into this combo and did more things better? But none of that extra stuff matters if you don't get over the concept of that you will not win a lot when you're first starting fighting games. And that is kind of the issue that a lot of people were seeing as it pertains to this beta, where there were probably a lot of people Invincible show fans who are like, I love this show, I want to try this fighting game. And they get into it and they lose and they're like, okay, well, I don't want to play this if I'm going to lose, or I don't want to stay in this match if I'm going to lose, and they just end up quitting. And to be honest, there's no system, there's nothing a company can add to really fix that, right? I saw people say that they should do people force people into first to 2, but it doesn't really matter because all people are going to do anyway is quit. Forcing people into a first to 2 really isn't going to fix the problem. One thing they could do to technically fix one of the problems is that one of the problems I was personally running into is that when I will match up with somebody, they wouldn't click accept and they would just kind of sit there. So I don't know if they were just leaving or what was happening there, but maybe a system where if you queue up for a ranked game, there's no you accept, like it automatically accepts and then you just have to go into that game. But in terms of stopping people from rage quitting, there's really no answers for that, right? The only answer you can really do to deal with people rage quitting is after excessive rage quitting, you are banned from ranked play, right? If you rage quit too much, you get banned from ranked play. That's really the only solution for that. If you're trying to do a roundabout solution being like, oh, well, it's not gonna work, right? If people are gonna rage quit, they're gonna rage quit. This has been a part of fighting games since the start of time, right? People just rage quit. So a lot of people are having issues with that. And I also ran into my fair share of rage quitters. This one, because I know they announced another one, but I wasn't sure if that was the brand new. Hold on now. Hey, I'll tell you. I made him rage quit. I made him rage quit. Come on, can I get some credit? I already made him rage quit. There were some other issues that I personally had with the game where I didn't love the EX moves. Like the EX moves were absolutely ridiculous. And even bigger than that for me, armor in this game is insane. I think there's way too many things that have armor. Some of the armor, like bro, fighting battle beasts feels absolutely ridiculous. Cause I think the thing in this game is it felt like a lot of things were safe and it felt like I couldn't punish anything. And that might be a mindset thing. I don't play a lot of tag games, so I typically don't know the flow of tag games, but it felt like a lot of things had like unnecessary armor. And when people were making mistakes, it felt like I really couldn't punish them or do anything to stop their mistakes. Like people were whiffing buttons, people were whiffing DPs, people were popping supers and recovering fast enough before I could. I was like, what is going on? So one thing I do want to see change is some of the armor in this game just feels overwhelming. It just felt like it was a bit too much. One thing I do really love about this game is this game encourages you to tag, right? This game wants you to be tagging all of the time. And if you're the person on the end of the person that's hitting you and tagging, if you do not stop them, you will lose very fast in this game. And I was winning a good chunk of my games simply because people didn't go through the tutorial. Like there was mechanics in this game that even on day 2 and 3, it felt like people weren't using, right? So you can stop people from active tagging. And a lot of people weren't stopping me from active tagging. So I would pop them in the air, do my combo, do a super, tag, do super. And people were taking that because they didn't know that you can stop an active tag. This game has a lot of KI in it. This feels like KI as a tag game. This is what this game feels like. And if you don't know, KI is my second favorite fighting game franchise of all time. So I love Killer Instinct. And there's definitely some Killer Instinct isms in this game. So similar to KI, this game has breakers. And you have like the assist breaker where you can go up and you could just have your assist break in the middle of a combo. But you also have access to this mechanic called counter tag. But a lot of people weren't using this and I was very confused because I was like, half of the things I was doing was extremely just like, I'm just doing whatever, but people weren't stopping me from active tagging. So I do like that this game encourages you to active tag. I wish I got a chance to play more high level people, because what I heard is when people start counter tagging, right? Then you kind of have like the mix where you can like fake tag and do all of these feints and stuff like that. And it feels like I wasn't able to, at a mechanical level, get to this point in this game because a lot of people weren't utilizing mechanics, and it made it so I didn't really have to utilize them. This game also has some funky inputs I really wasn't vibing with. Like for some reason, dash, or what was it, grab? I think grab was like dash and light punch. And I was like, this doesn't really make any sense. So some of the button layout in this game feels a bit confusing. It feels like just unnecessarily complex when it really doesn't need to be. So that was one problem that I just kind of had, where I just didn't really like the control scheme in the game. It felt like a lot of the things they wanted to do control wise could have been simpler, and it just felt like they made it unnecessarily complex. So that was kind of my biggest gripe, outside of like some of the EX and some of the armor stuff, where I just wasn't huge on how the game was controlled. It's one of those things, you get used to it the more you play it, but my first couple of matches, I was just like, what is happening? I say all of that to say, this is a game where I think it'll get better with time. I think people are gonna figure out crazier stuff. I think people are gonna figure out a lot of the system, and it's gonna make playing it a lot funner. I can't say much for the new player experience because I feel like you can't force people to play fighting games. I know a lot of companies have been trying to get like these players into fighting games. We've been trying to get new players to play these games. We've made them simpler, right? We've had simple button schemes. We've had all of these things, but if people don't want to learn a fighting game, no matter how simple you make it, they will never ever like want to play. And that's kind of, I think, of the mindset that a lot of these companies need to take, where, okay, we've tried to get new players into these fighting games and it's just not happening. And it's because no matter how simple you make a fighting game, there will always be that gap between brand new players and experienced fighting game players, because you're just basically you're making it easier for the mid to high level players when you're making it easier for the low level players. So there'll always be that skill gap. And I think a lot of companies just need to accept that okay, every once in a while you'll get a brand new fighting game player that's willing to learn and willing to have fun. But anyway, let me know what you guys thought about this game in the comment section below. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What didn't you like about it? And what did you like about it? And what would you like to see change? Like I said, to kind of summarize, I think the game at this core level is very fun, but there are some things in there that are like the EX stuff and the armor is just absolutely ridiculous. And it makes the game less fun. But I think with time, this game will get more fun. And we'll just have to see how it plays out. But as always, everybody, pass class, don't eat ass. I'm out this bitch.